EPT London 2010, the scene for a clash between two strong players. David Vamplew, a young internet pro, and the legendary John Juanda. At this point, he already had more than $9 million in live earnings. Both made the final table of the main event, a tournament with a top prize of nearly $1.5 million.
And with pocket fives, I think we can expect Juanda to get us started here. It's a min plus raise, 165,000. Vamplew with king-queen suited.
Vamplew has a real decision here. He's at least calling and he might be 3-betting. He might try to isolate the aggressive Juanda.
He has just called.
He's going to take the conservative route and see a flop.
There's a 5 on it. A set of 5 for Juanda, nothing for Vamplew.
Juanda crushes this flop, picking up 3 5s. And there's no slow paying from him. He's putting a stack together. With 500,000 in the pot, he leads out for 270K. Vamplew has a decision here. He has one of the best possible hands to float this flop. He has 2 overcards and 2 backdoor draws. He has the backdoor straight draw and the backdoor flush draw.
And floating is what he does. He calls in position. There is now $1 million in the middle, and we will see a turn card. A king on the turn. This could work out quite expensive for David Vamplew.
This could be a costly float. Worst card in the deck for Vamplew, best card in the deck for Juanda.
He was looking to hit one of his overs, and he did. Little does he know how strong John Juanda is right now. Little does he know that he's drawing dead. More than $500,000 is the bet from Juanda.
Vamplew is sure to call here. There's 1.6 million in the pot. He's getting 3-1 on his money, and he has top pair with a queen kicker now. And it's a disguised top pair. It's hard to put Vamplew on a king at this point, and this is a great card for Juanda to barrel if he was bluffing.
Vamplew makes the call. An inconsequential 7 on the river. Juanda reaching for chips again. How much value can he extract here?
Juanda doesn't want to risk losing value with Vamplew checking back a 1-pair hand, and it looks like he's going to go for the bet line. No fancy play syndrome, just good old-fashioned value, 1.25 million.
Just over half the pot. Vamplew announces call, and Juanda will show his set of 5s.
Vamplew is going to see the grim news as his stack is sliced in half.
Right now we are going to sweat with the chip leader. We're going to play this hand from John Juanda's perspective, and we will only see his hole cards, which are 9-10 offsuit. He makes it 250,000. Vamplew defends his small blind.
Vamplew does not take his time. He calls immediately. If I have to put Vamplew on a range, it's going to be pairs and paint and ace-X.
Well, if it's the latter, he's just hit trips. Juanda has a pair of 9s to go with those aces on board. Vamplew checks.
Now, Juanda has 2 decisions here. He can bet to take down the pot, or he can check it back for pot control.
He decides to continuation bet, 325,000. Vamplew makes the call. What can we read into that?
Still putting Vamps on that same range. He's got a smaller pocket pair, spade paint, or trip aces.
Vamplew checks again. Should Juanda bet again here?
With 1.3 million out there and the majority of his range, smaller pairs and flush draws, I like another small pot control bet. However, he will have to be wary of a check raise from Vamplew.
He bets 485,000.
And Juanda does just that. This is a small bet designed to get to showdown.
Vamplew is not check raising, but he's check calling. Are we being sent a message now that our 9's no good?
Not necessarily. Juanda's 9 is going to be good a fair amount of the time, but Vamplew still has the possibility of having an ace in the hole.
He's check called the flop and turn. And now he's counting out chips. I mean, this could be a bluff on the river with something like king-queen of spades.
I wouldn't expect him to bluff out with the king high because king high still has exceptional showdown value here. I'm putting Vamplew on a premium at this point. I believe Vamps is putting Juanda on a mid-range value hand with all of his pot control bets. He's trying to make this look like a busted flush draw and squeeze some value.
Juanda will fold. Vamplew did have an ace, ace-10.
Vamps made an excellent river lead with the intuition. Juanda was done value betting and checking back to showdown.
And it's another battle between Juanda and Vamplew.
And Juanda has an ace.
He raises it up to 345,000. And in the big blind, Vamplew has a better ace, ace-9.
And position. Vamplew has a lock on this hand pre-flop. He's probably just going to call and not create a huge pot pre-flop with Kyle on the short stack.
He does call. 735,000 is the size of the pot as Juanda hits trips.
This flop is going to be extremely troublesome for Vamplew. It's a dry flop. It's hard to put Juanda on a 3, and Vamps has the backdoor nut flush draw with his ace-high equity.
A tower of orange chips worth 25,000 each. The bet is 475,000.
Juanda has been a stranger to slow playing all day, and he's going to continue to lead out and bring the pressure. And Vamplew's going to look him up.
7 of clubs means that Vamplew is now drawing dead.
1.7 million out there. Juanda's sure to bet again. Let's see what the price to play is.
And he is going to bet 1.2 million.
Juanda has been betting half pot all day, and now he's upping the ante. This polarizes Juanda's range to either a complete airball or an extremely large value hand. Doesn't look like Vamps wants to go anywhere.
He's counting out chips for the call, and he will make the call, and we will go to the river with 4 million in the middle.
Vamplew is convinced ace-high is good and is going to continue to look Juanda up here.
The river is a jack.
Well, if there's one card Juanda didn't want to see, it's another jack. This card might slow him down, but he still has the option of putting in another river value bet. Juanda could lead out here for a half-pot bet and maybe fold to a re-raise. I think that's what he's debating in his head right now. He's thinking to himself, does Vamplew have more ace-highs or jacks in his range?
He elects to check, and Vamplew checks behind with showdown value.
So brutal.
Came so close to value betting that, and he probably would have got called. Juanda is on the button in the small blind. Jack deuce.
This is an extremely light hand heads up. It can't flop much equity. And with no ante, there's a little bit less out there to go steal. But Juanda wants to steal anyways.
He makes it 360,000, and I guess Juanda feels that he's got such an advantage over his relatively inexperienced opponent that he can just keep piling on the pressure from the button.
It's not a bad strategy. Playing in position equals winning more pots.
Vamplew with the better jack will call, and we will go to the flop, which is Jack, Jack 7, both players with trip jacks. Vamplew's kicker playing though.
Juanda's going to be heading into stormy waters on a raft filled with 3 smaller jacks.
There is a 22% chance that this ends in a chop. But right now, Vamplew is 67% favorite to win it all.
With over 720,000 chips in the pot, Juanda's going to waste no time to build this pot, betting just over $500,000.
Vamplew is check raising, total of 1.3 million.
Vamplew also taking the aggressive route and coming in with a great check raise here, putting Juanda to the test.
And Juanda re-raises. It's now 2 million.
It's nearly impossible for Vamplew to rebluff Juanda's 3-bet. At that point, he can only jam a better jack or a spade flush draw.
All in.
Look at Juanda's reaction.
Call.
Oh, he's going to be so sick.
I have a jack.
David shows a check, check 10.
Jack deuce no good, John.
And Tom shows another check, check with a deuce.
The Vamplew supporters willing on the double up.
All in. Both players.
Juanda's going to be praying to the poker gods for the 22% split or the miracle 11% win.
It is a 5.
Spade insurance for
3
Vamplew.
spades on the board. And David
Juanda needs a deuce for the win, a 7 or a 5 for the chop. Any other card, Vamplew doubles up.
Let's see the river card, please. It's a queen.
It is a double up for the Scotsman, and he takes the chip lead at this final table.
Juanda's got to think to himself, maybe he could have played that different. If he had just called that check raise on the flop by Vamplew, it could have been a much cheaper pot with the spade hitting on the turn.
Juanda has raised every button so far. Ace-6 of diamonds, I don't think this hand's going to be any exception.
He's finally qualified to raise the button.
It's a min-raise to 400k.
And Vamplew's qualified to call pre-flop with this pair of black 3s.
Feeling frisky, he might even re-raise.
Re-raising with threes might put himself in a sticky situation versus Juanda.
Well, he has elected to call, and it's 2 pairs for Juanda. Vamplew checks, and Juanda reaches for chips. How much is he going to bet?
Juanda hasn't slow played all day, no reason to start now.
It's almost a pot-sized bet, 700,000. An out-of-position float against John Juanda.
I'm not too fond of Vamp's call here. He is putting himself in uncharted territory, out of position against a fearless, aggressive opponent that at worst is going to have 2 overcards.
Now 3 spades on board.
Well, Juanda should still be betting this turn. There are more aces and Broadway cards in Vamp's range than flush cards. He is playing with chips. Yeah, he decides to check it and give Vamp a free card. Vamp could hit a spade now for the win.
Instead, Juanda fills up.
Wow, once Juanda checks back this turn and rivers the 6 for a boat, the strength of his hand is properly disguised.
Vamplew checks. That is a full stack of black and green. That's 2 million with an orange cherry on top. That is 2,025,000.
A nearly full pot size bet. With a smile to top it off.
What is Vamplew doing? Juanda wants to know as well. He's raising. He's check raising this river. He's trying to rep the flush.
Vamplew is putting Juanda on 6x at best and mostly just an ace. But Vamplew's dancing around a campfire holding cans of flammable hairspray trying to rep this river flush when not even Poseidon himself could check raise Juanda out of the captain's seat of this boat.
And breathe, William.
Deep breaths.
Well, it's a case of when rather than if Juanda puts the rest of his chips in.
This play could have been brilliant, except Juanda does have the boat. It's very plausible for Vamplew to have a flush here.
All in.
Here he goes.
All in from John.
And Vamplew realizes he was representing a hand that Juanda actually has. Or in this case, could actually beat. Juanda min raises.
Vamplew again with another dominated ace, but at least his is suited.
Well, in that case, stick another 200,000 in the pot. Let's see a flop.
Vamplew starting this hand with just over 32 big blinds.
Ace 10 still in the lead, plus a gut shot straight draw for Juanda.
Juanda's elected to check this one back.
Bingo. John Juanda has the nut straight. Vamplew does pick up a flush draw.
If there's one turn card I wanted to see, it was the Jack of Clubs. The nuts for Juanda and the nut flush draw with the gut shot for Vamplew. Action card.
And Vamplew is going to lead out on the turn. He bets 625,000.
Well, it's going to be a stare down and 1.85 million. This puts Vamplew in an extremely tough spot. If he calls in bricks, he's going to lose 1/3 of his chips this hand, but it's highly unlikely Juanda would check back a great flop to c-bet and then raise a turn lead as a bluff. Vamp should proceed with caution.
All in.
Or ship it.
Call.
Raise all in and call.
Obviously he calls.
The nuts.
The stone cold nizzle dizzle nuts.
John Juanda is on the verge of winning his first EPT title. He finished second in a high roller event here in London in 2008. He is one card away from lifting that trophy and winning £900,000. He has to sweat a club, which would see Vamplew double up, or a 10, which would see this pot chopped. Is John Juanda the third champion of EPT 7? No, it's a club on the river. The nut flush for Vamplew gives him the double up.
Vamplew won't be needing to go to the gym anytime soon.
Hey?
He gets enough exercise pushing his luck.
King deuce of diamonds on the button.
11 big suited king, ship it.
All in.
That's what he does.
Call.
He calls it. And now it's David Vamplew who's on the verge of winning his first EPT title. He is 60% favorite with 5 cards to come.
Ace of club.
The flop
Club comes.
has an ace and a 3 on it. Vamplew takes a commanding lead, and Juanda will now need running cards to stay alive.
John needs to catch 2 cards.
It could be all over on the turn. David Vamplew could be crowned the winner of EPT London, and he is! The Scotsman has done it! He has taken the title here in London, and John Juanda has to make do with another second place finish on the European Poker Tour. But right now it's about this young Scottish internet pro who's won his first major tournament title.